Welcome to Click to Learn More, the show that sounds like clickbait.
But it's actually two dorks.
I'm Dorm.
I'm Liddy.
Liddy!
Dorm.
That's how my notes start. Well, it doesn't start with your retort of like I'm in Cheers. Dorm.
Oh, but that's so good, though.
Jill makes that joke like literally every time she's in chat.
Really?
She's like, Dorm! She feels, or when I pop into Chillbo's chat, she'll be like,
I
Dorm.
love that. That makes me very, very happy because I'm imagining everybody around just like, Dorm. Like you just hear it echo through the entire pod sphere. Okay.
Today we're going to be talking about a star athlete from the 1980s.
Ooh.
We're not in Dorm's era anymore. We're not. We flipped numbers. Usually it's the 1890s, now it's the 1980s. Who may have one of the most interesting stories I've ever heard in all my sports doc watching.
Oh, dang. And that's a lot.
That is a lot.
Yeah.
I've seen every 30 for 30 from season 1, so 30 of them.
Okay.
And I would say like half of the ones from season 2.
Okay.
And I just like sports doc a lot. SB Nation on YouTube has some great ones. Before we get into it and who it is, I want to say up front, this episode is pretty heavily influenced by an episode of a YouTube series called Pretty Good. The SB Nation, as I just mentioned, John Boy's video series on YouTube. So it is they're like, I would call them mini docs. They're all like 20, 30 minutes long. We watched the one about poker.
Yeah, it was super, super cool.
So they're a series of those. I would not know anything about this athlete's story nor the craziness that happened within it if it weren't for Pretty Good. I want to fully credit John Boys, who created the episode, as part writer of this episode, even though he's both never heard of us and will never listen to this podcast. If you like watching sports docs, if you like interesting stories, and especially if you enjoy this episode, please go watch episode 3 and the rest because they're awesome. Of Pretty Good, just look up Pretty Good John Boys, BOIS on YouTube, and I'm sure I'll get there rather quickly. Okay. I just want to get that out of the way because these do sort of follow the same course because he's such a good writer that it's hard not to follow that same course.
That's fair.
With full crediting gone, Liddy, I want to talk to you about Lonnie Smith.
Lonnie Smith. Okay.
Yes.
It's
Now
a baseball man.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, there are 2 famous Lonnie Smiths in the world, at least that have Wikipedia pages. Sorry, Lonnie and Tulsa. We will not be talking about Dr. Lonnie Smith, world-renowned jazz musician.
Ah, dang. That's the one I was hoping it was.
Tonight I know, we get them mixed up all the time when we talk about them.
On our daily conversations about it.
Tonight, we are going to be talking about MLB left fielder Lonnie Smith.
Okay.
Strap in, Lizzo, because this isn't your normal sports story.
Which, I'm well-versed in my sports stories.
Yes, but it's not just you'll see. My sources today include SB Nation, the aforementioned company behind Pretty Good, the John Boys content, ESPN, Baseball Almanac, which is awesome, a New York Times article from 1989, a New York Times article from 1991, the Chicago Tribune, baseballreference.com, which is the wildest reference website I've ever seen. Okay. It has stats for literally every player since like 1800. It's insane. It is the coolest. Like, if you like stats, it's rad. And many more. There are a lot of sources. This is my most sourced episode to date. I wanted to make sure that I got a lot different.
No, you did tell me. You're like, this is the best episode I've ever wrote.
It is.
Like, you told me that straight up, so I'm ready.
And that's not like this is just my favorite episode I've ever written. I wanted to do a lot of research to make sure it differentiated enough from the Pretty Good episode. Okay. I didn't want to follow it beat for beat. Yeah. So, yeah.
So, yeah.
The year is 1974.
Oh, boy.
Compton, California.
Okay.
The LAPD has killed 6 members of the Symbionese Liberation Army, a vanguard military group most noted for kidnapping Patricia Hearst.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah.
The Way We Were by Barbra Streisand is the #1 song of the year.
I like that you opened with some crime to get me hooked.
Yes.
You're like, first we're going to go with Patty Hearst.
Lonnie Smith is drafted 3rd in the first round of the 1974 MLB June Amateur Draft.
Naturally.
Out of Compton's Centennial High School by the Philadelphia Phillies.
Okay.
He's a pretty talented left fielder coming out of high school. Lonnie has a pretty standard early career in baseball, going through the minors, dipping his toes in AAA and AA waters, etc. Which, if you're unfamiliar, AAA, AA, single A, those are all minor league organizations in baseball.
Thank you, because I only know them as batteries. So,
a single A battery.
The only good battery.
In 1980, Lonnie made his way onto the Phillies lineup. So he's now a player for the Phillies. He batted a .339 batting average, which is .339.
Is that good?
Which means he got a hit about 1 in every 3 at-bats. That's very good.
Yeah, okay.
So batting average is just how many times you got a hit versus how many times you're at the plate.
Okay. Like your kill-death ratio, but like...
Yes, but a percentage. That's really good. So good, in fact, Lonnie finishes 3rd in the Rookie of the Year running that year.
Okay, wow.
The Phillies would do rather okay that season, winning the National League and, beating Kansas City 4-2 in the World Series to take home the championship. Not bad to get a ring in your first year at the majors.
Oh, first year. And
So
you're going
Lonnie's
home.
first year, the
Oh.
Phillies win a championship.
Okay, all right, yeah, all right.
1981, the following year, was an interesting year for baseball altogether, as the season was cut short by about a third of all games that season due to a player strike, the first since 1972.
Don't they want that? Don't you want strikes
Oh my god.
in baseball?
Yes.
Hey, no, come on. I don't know anything about
That was
sports.
good. That was a good joke. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. It was good.
I don't know. I gotta take them where I can get them, all right?
Ball one. Players in the Players Union refuse. If you don't know, sorry, I skipped a sentence. If you're not familiar with sports striking, it's about the same as any labor strike. Players in the Players Union, which is comprised of most players, refuse to play or stop playing during a season. In this case, players stopped playing around June 12th, which would have been right in the middle of baseball season.
I didn't know they had a union. Like, I guess it'd be like the Actors Guild kind of thing,
Yeah, but
something.
all professional sports, like the big four, NHL, MLB, NFL, NBA, they all have player unions.
That's so cool. I never knew that because it has never occurred to me that they would need to strike for anything, or like that has never been a thought. So
that's actually like
it's really interesting.
The NFLPA is one of the probably the busiest, or the one you hear about the most. A lot of it to do with the like brain injury CTE stuff right now.
Okay.
So they're like trying to get better medical treatment afterward for players,
Gotcha.
and instead of getting left high and dry, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, they're just like any other union, so they just advocate for their workers.
That's really cool.
So in this case, it stopped on June 12th, 1981, and will typically not return until a resolution is made with the owners of the or the league in question. So it's usually owners, like the owners of each team, and like I guess just like the MLB officials, or not refs, but like the back office, like CEOs, things like that.
Do you know what they went on strike for?
I do.
Like, okay. Jumping ahead.
In the case of the 1981 strike, players were upset about the owners wanting compensation for a player leaving in the act of free agency. If you're unfamiliar with what free agency is, don't worry, we'll get there.
Okay.
To summarize quickly, though, basically owners wanted their playthings and wanted to be paid when a player left to go get more money.
Oh.
So
by that player?
Kind of, yeah. It would be a cut. I think it would be a cut. Maybe it was just by the team, but they wanted sort of compensation for a player leaving to get more money. The players were right to strike. It's stupid.
Yeah.
Anyway, our boy Lonnie played well in the 2/3 of a season that was 1981, batting a .324 batting average. Still really good. Again, about one hit every three.
Okay.
In November of 1981, in the offseason, Lonnie is traded from the Phillies to the St. Louis Cardinals for catcher Bo Diaz. 1982 was a calendar year for our boy Lonzo. He made his first All-Star game, continued to bat well with a .307 batting average, led the NL, the National League, so baseball's teams are either in the National League or American League. Those are the two leagues.
I really appreciate you breaking it down because I'm like, I don't know what this means. And then you turn around and tell me and I'm like, oh, okay, got it.
So the winner of the National League will face the winner of the American League in the World Series. That's what the World Series is.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, so...
I just knew the World Series was a thing.
Yeah, that's the championship. So
you...
they get seeded... It's like NBA playoffs, if you're familiar with those, like East-West Conference. It's like NL and NL, but it's not geographic.
That makes much more sense now. Okay.
He made his first All-Star game, continued to bat well with a .307 batting average, led the National League with 120 runs scored, and ranked second in the National League for stolen bases. Behind, I think, Ricky Henderson that year, who is the greatest base stealer of all time. He's insane. Anyway, but I want to talk about something else that happened that year.
Okay.
With his new team, Lonnie was back in his old stomping grounds of brotherly love. Now, if you don't know baseball, you may not be familiar with the Philadelphia Phillies mascot, the Fanatic. Have you ever seen this guy?
Yes.
Okay, because of Always Sunny?
Yeah, he's green.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Fanatic, spelled PH, is pretty legendary in baseball for hazing literally everyone, usually opposing players and coaches, but not always.
Okay.
But it's always relentless. Lonnie was born pigeon-toed.
Oh, no.
So sometimes when breaking for a base or after a ball, he might trip up and fall. You would too if your feet faced inward like that. Lonnie had a bit of reputation for being clumsy, and, well, the Fanatic clowned him for it, even when he was a Philly.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, that's your own player?
Yeah, but it was like he's getting our own guy kind of thing. He had a lovable asshole reputation.
Oh.
Anyway, so Lonnie's back in Philly, and now he's with the Cardinals. When the mascot clowns him for the millionth time, and Lonnie's had enough.
Oh no!
When the Fanatic starts his usual antics at Lonnie, in the middle of the game.
Oh no!
Lonnie just straight up charges him.
And this is like not a planned, not a goof thing.
We'll get there.
Oh, okay.
Now this is probably justified.
Okay.
The Fanatic was and still is an asshole.
Is that in your notes?
Yes, he is. He's an asshole. I mean, people love that's his character, but he's an asshole.
I love that's in your notes. Okay.
He'd make fun of the easiest thing about you. He'd made fun of Tommy Lasorda, a Hall of Fame manager, with a doll with a huge belly because Lasorda was a little on the portly side. Things like that.
That's rude. Okay.
Yeah. He's an asshole.
Okay. That's... Okay.
So Lonnie charged, threw himself at, and took out the Fanatic.
Oh my god.
He charged... think of like Superman flying, but with elbows as opposed to like just kind of like you're clearing out a catcher, I think.
Okay, so like he was sliding for home base.
Well, he wasn't sliding. He just ran at a dude and pushed him with both of his arms.
Oof.
Some people may think that this was a bit. This is pre-planned.
Okay.
But the Fanatic was in on the joke, but he fractured both ankles in the process, so I'd say probably not.
He did? Lonnie?
The Fanatic did.
Oh.
Like just in the charge, just fractured both of his ankles.
He literally broke his ankles.
Yeah. It's not basketball. That would be awesome.
He literally broke, like that. I'd say that because that's like the one slang thing I know from basketball is when you go around somebody really quickly, they call it like breaking your ankles. Yeah. But oh my god, he literally broke the Fanatic's ankles.
You want to know the wildest part?
That's not the wildest part.
He didn't even get kicked out of the game.
What?
No suspension, no nothing. They left him in.
How?
It just wasn't like, a rule, I guess. So
very obviously like assault.
Yeah,
if nothing
you should
else,
be suspended for that.
Not even the
he
game
didn't get a
like,
thing.
Not even attached to the game. Like legally, that's an assault. Oh my god!
So the next inning on defense, or no, I guess this happened while he was on defense.
Fanatic's over there in 2-leg casts, like your mother.
there's no video of this, unfortunately.
Oh.
Because it must have been like a locally televised game or something. It wasn't national televised. But the story goes that Lonnie is back out in left field where he plays. He's a left fielder.
Okay.
He always stands there on defense, and the Philly fans are pissed. Obviously,
at him?
At Lonnie because
he hurt the Fanatic.
Yeah, and he's a part of the opposing team now. He's with the Cardinals.
Oh, right. Okay, so he's turned, and now he's attacked their mascot.
Yeah, he turned heel.
Yeah, he
just got traded to another team, but yeah.
Well, he went bad. Okay.
Yeah, to them, sure. So they start throwing bottles at him.
Like glass bottles,
beer bottles. It's 1982. These are glass bottles being thrown.
Yeah, these aren't your paper cups you get now. Like,
no,
these are
they're glass bottles being thrown at a man. From some cases in 20 feet in the air, and some of them are full.
Jeez. Okay, what a waste of good beer, but all right.
Yeah, and Lonnie doesn't flinch. Lonnie just stands in the middle of left field and looks directly at the crowd, causing them to lose their mind and throw literally just anything they can find at him. Peanuts, anything.
Is it hitting him? Like these things are hitting him and he's still just standing there? Or are they not reaching him?
Nothing hits him.
Okay.
Like, they're all around him.
Yeah.
He said at one point that it was a miracle nothing hit him. Like, it's like, if it were this mic, which I know it's an audio podcast, but they literally land in a scatter plot around him, but never on him.
Wow.
So he simply stands watching these full beer bottles fall from on high and takes a bow.
No! Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Okay, but that's kind of awesome.
Yeah. That's really cool.
That's kind of fantastic, because he could just, like, that's the ultimate middle finger. Like, yeah, I'm not on your team anymore. Yeah, I screwed up your mascot, and none of you can hit me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm untouchable. Wow.
Now, you're probably thinking, what the hell would make someone do something so stupid as to ag on a crowd already throwing potentially lethal objects at you? Mm-hmm. Lydia, it's time for a little pop quiz.
Oh, no.
Is what made Lonnie Smith stand there A, steroids, B, he's just crazy, C, brain damage, or D, cocaine?
All of the above?
No, there is one answer.
Cocaine?
It is cocaine. Cocaine, like most Scorsese movies, is going to play a big role in this story.
Oh, no.
Back to the baseball for just a second. Lonnie Smith had a really good year that year. He was second in National League MVP votes to the now Hall of Famer Atlanta Brave Dale Murphy. There were a lot of proper nouns in that, sorry. Undoubtedly leading to Atlanta's more Dales per capita factoid than any city in the 80s. I wrote that joke, thank you.
Yeah,
that was originally me. That was not stolen from anything. I want to make that very clear.
I hate that.
And Lonnie's Cardinals would go on to win the World Series that year, too, giving him a second ring for a second team in just 3 years.
So what you're saying is cocaine is the way to win baseball.
In 1982, yes, it was. In 1983, Lonnie was continuing his incredible pace, but on a June 8th night against his old ghost, the Phillies, in Philadelphia, Lonnie went 0-2 with 2 walks. Not a terrible night, but it made him go out and search for his old pal Coke.
Ooh.
Now, this information is straight from the Pretty Good episode, but the normal amount of cocaine for someone to snort on first usage is one Like
first time ever.
Yeah, like you're giving somebody Coke to try.
But P.S. Don't try Coke.
Yeah, don't try Coke. This is not an endorsement of Coke.
Yeah.
1.2 grams.
Okay. So I don't know. What is that in relation? Like, is there a size? Like, is that like a?
We'll get to something comparable.
Oh, okay. Okay.
A repeat user who has built up some tolerance can maybe do 5 grams, which is just a little bit more than a teaspoon.
Oh, okay.
So 1.2 grams is like a quarter of a teaspoon.
Yeah, just,
like very little.
Yeah, okay.
Lonnie, that night in Philadelphia, did 14.5 grams.
What? How did he not die?
A tablespoon's worth of cocaine.
What?
Years later, in an interview Lonnie did with Kent Babb of the state newspaper in Columbia, South Carolina, Kent wrote, Smith holed up in his hotel room, plowed through the drugs, and began a night that would chill him to the bone. Smith says he didn't sleep that night. He sat on the floor, shaking and sweating as the sun rose.
Well, yeah, no wonder you freaking took enough cocaine to pop your heart out of your body.
And was terrified he was on the edge of a fatal overdose. He did not play the Cardinals game the next day, feeling nauseated in the dugout and stuffing clumps of toilet tissues in his nostrils to stop a chronic nosebleed.
Well, I wonder why, because you literally ripped up the inside of your own nasal cavities with, like, poison.
Yes.
Jeez.
The next day, Lonnie walked into Cardinals manager Whitey Herzog, who is, I think, a Hall of Famer now, office and told him everything and that he needed to help.
Oh.
Babb later reported that, quote, Smith learned he consumed so much cocaine that he developed a large ulcer on one of his nostrils, a sign that he was burning away the flesh of his nose, end quote.
You know, people have to get nose jobs because they literally, like, cause a deviated septum with Coke. Like, it eats away at the inside of your nose, and then they have to, like, get surgery to fix it. Ugh. Yeah. Super cool.
Lonnie went to rehab at the Highlands Center in St. Louis with the help of his coach, set out for a month during the season, and would remain with the Cardinals through the 1984 season.
So was this, like, this was common knowledge? Like, people knew he was having a drug problem, or did they keep it under wraps?
It was in the papers that he went out and searched for help.
So, they knew that he had a drug problem.
The public would have, yeah. Okay. I think so.
Okay.
Or at least they would have said he's going to rehab. I don't know if they would have said for what.
Over something, yeah.
In 1985, Lonnie got traded to Kansas City. So just across the state from St. Louis to Kansas City. Mm-hmm. He hated it there.
Oh.
But his production was still good. So good, in fact, that when he joined the Royals, they made it to the World Series and faced the Cardinals.
Oh, he keeps coming up against his old teams.
And he became the first player ever to face his former team in the same year they traded him in the World Series.
Oh, wait, okay. So when you get traded in baseball, do you have to agree to it, or is it just kind of like
if you're traded, you don't get a say?
So that's kind of like poetic,
yeah, a
right?
Bit,
to get to come back and be like, "Sup?"
Right, yeah. The Royals would win that series, and Lonnie would become the first, and only to my knowledge, player to win 3 championships with 3 different teams.
Yeah.
So he's just on a tear.
Yeah.
Something else happened that year, though.
Okay.
In September of 1985, before Lonnie would get his 3rd ring, he testified in the Pittsburgh drug trials.
Okay.
MLB has always had a substance abuse problem of some sort. In the early days of baseball, it was alcohol. In the really early days, it was common for someone to have a beer at third base as incentive for a runner to get there.
What?
Yeah.
Like just sitting there?
Like, well, somebody would be holding it. Like, if they got to third base, they got a beer. That's legit.
Oh my God. Okay.
Then it morphed into different kinds of drugs, cocaine being the latest at this time. This was kind of before we would get really into the steroid era. Mm-hmm. That's more like late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
MLB was starting to get a bad rap during this time, so they were starting to crack down on the drug usage, and these trials were born. Now remember, Lonnie is somehow still clean. So in exchange of diplomatic immunity, he's more than willing to testify the horrors of his former life.
Yeah.
The next bit is from Wikipedia because it's all legal stuff.
Okay.
Ex-pirate John Milner talked about getting amphetamines from Hall of Famers Willie Mays and Willie Stargell. Milner added that he bought 2 grams of cocaine for $200 in the bathroom stalls at Three River Stadium during a Pirates-Houston Astros game in 1980. So Three River Stadium is where the Pirates played.
Okay.
Most of this centers around like some Pittsburgh Pirates and then people who were willing to testify.
You know what's really bad?
What?
He said pirate, and I was like, why did they have a pirate on the
Oh my God, the
court?
Pittsburgh Pirates.
I realize now because of context clues, but at the time I was like, why would there have been a pirate involved in the cocaine trade? Okay, go ahead.
You're going to love a part coming up. Hold on.
Okay. I'm an idiot.
Keith Hernandez, who is a very well-renowned baseball player, revealed he had used cocaine for 3 years. Hernandez later added that about 40% of all Major League Baseball players were using cocaine in the early 80s.
Wow.
He would quickly backtrack, however, saying that he might have been grossly wrong. Tim Raines admitted keeping a gram of cocaine in his uniform pocket.
Okay, cool.
As well as revealing that he snorted during games, and then he only slid into base head first so as not to break the vial.
Oh my god.
Testimony also revealed that Rod Scurry once left the stadium to go looking for cocaine during the late innings of a Pirates game. Drug dealers frequented the Pirates clubhouse. Even the Pirate Parrot, Kevin Koch, or Cook, or Koch, you could say that name like 8 different ways. I've heard it so many different ways. Was implicated for buying cocaine and introducing a few of the ball players to a local drug dealer. He was dealing cocaine. The mascot of the Pirates, who is a large parrot, was dealing cocaine to the players.
He's just out there. You see him out there, like, just high as a kite out there in his little pirate outfit, like his little parrot outfit, just like, woo, just feeling it. Oh my god. Nobody's safe from birds and their reign of terror. On February
28th, 1986, baseball commissioner Peter Ueberroth,
okay,
spelled Ueberroth, so Ueberroth, handed down suspensions to 11 players. All the suspensions were commuted in exchange for fines and community service. Ueberroth also asked each player to submit to voluntary urine tests. Ultimately, the Players Association would negotiate with that. 7 players were determined to have been prolonged drug users who had also facilitated distribution to other players and were suspended for a full season. The players were allowed to continue playing under the condition that they donated 10% of their base salaries to drug abuse programs, submitted to random drug testing, and contributed 100 hours of drug-related community service.
But, okay, well, I'm going to be, like, negative for a second, but, like, you don't think they could have, like, paid off the people to say that they were fine for the drug testing? Like, or, like, bought clean urine, you know? Like,
probably that time, yeah.
Could still be doing it. Like,
I don't know, though. Have you seen the way they... When you do a urine test, like in the NFL or something now...
Do they stand behind you?
The guy watches you... No, like stands beside you.
Oh, like
watches you
right at your wing.
And just stares at your dick.
Just stares at your wing.
There's footage of it, I think on Last Week Tonight, like a couple years ago. Or maybe it was recent. I don't know. But it was... I watched it recently.
You just put a little baggie up there full of clean pee.
Well, I mean, they would see it because they make you like lift your shirt and pull your pants all the way down.
No. There's ways around it. There's probably not ways around it. Don't sell your pee or buy pee, please.
The 7 players were Joaquin Andahar, Dale Barra, Enos Cabell, Keith Hernandez, former teammate of Lonnie's, who would do coke with a lot, Jeffrey Leonard, Dave Parker, and you guessed it, our boy, Lonnie Smith.
Oh, Lonnie, no.
Now that guy, Peter Ueberroth, baseball commissioner?
Not just Roth, but Ueberroth.
Yes. He and Lonnie didn't get along.
Uh-oh.
As part of the suspension I just mentioned, Lonnie can still play, but is supposed to be regularly tested.
Okay.
Somewhere I saw said 7 to 8 times a month. Anyway, Lonnie is clean by his own doing. Mm-hmm. Remember, this is years after he got clean.
Yeah.
And kind of thinks the suspension is BS, but is more than happy to prove he's clean with drug testing. Mm-hmm. Lonnie claims Ueberroth wasn't testing nearly as hard as he should, and he starts hounding him in the papers.
Oh.
So he's saying, like, you're doing the suspension for PR, but you're not actually testing the people. You don't care about the players, that kind of stuff.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
When this happens, Ueberroth says, we don't care what he thinks, only that he stays off drugs. He's an ass. Around this time, too, this part is directly from Pretty Good because it does the best part of explaining it. Ueberroth is fighting another scandal. There's rumors swirling of collusion.
Oh.
Now, collusion in baseball works in accordance with free agency. Remember I told you we were getting there? Well, now we're here. In free agency, a player has the right to go out and have teams offer what they think he's worth.
Okay.
He's a free agent, meaning he can go wherever he pleases and it isn't under contract to one team. Mm-hmm. So his contract will likely will expire, and he's able to just go out and look and see who's offering the best deal.
Find other jobs, essentially.
His former team, of course, can compete in the free agency.
Uh-oh.
But that means they'll have to most likely either match or come close to the highest bidder on the market. Mm-hmm. It's like if you're, it's the same for any job.
Yeah, job hunt.
Free agency is great for players. It means they're getting paid what baseball thinks they're worth and not locked to a contract that may have been something that they signed as a rookie or had no real negotiating stake in on a trade.
Yeah.
Free agency works on the idea that all of these teams are their own businesses, each offering Lonnie what they think he's worth. Just like if you got offered jobs from 2 businesses in whatever your career is, you have the right to, as the player, to negotiate, but you and your team should ideally be the only one who knows what's on the table.
Okay.
Like your team, I mean like your agent and your legal guy, not like the team you played for.
Yeah.
Collusion works like this. All of these rich guy owners get together, sometimes with a commissioner, to protect each other's money. So if Lonnie goes out to 5 teams and they normally offer him the best offer, when they're colluding, no one offers anything.
Oh, no.
The only team to offer was Lonnie's old team, the Royals, for far less money because he has nowhere else to go.
Oh, no.
It's gross, and Ueberroth was proven to have been participating.
Ugh.
But that wasn't until years later. But they proved it.
So who is he with at this time?
He's with the Royals.
So he's with the Royals.
Yes, in Kansas City.
And they're like, well, we're going to give you this much.
Right.
And that's it. Because he can't go anywhere else. That's so dirty.
Yeah. And the Pretty Good episode, I don't have this in my notes, but the Pretty Good episode shows how obvious it was. Mm-hmm. In 2015, like 130-something players changed teams on free agency. Uh-huh. In 1985, 4 did.
Wow.
So it was happening all across the league.
Wow.
Lonnie was making $1 million a year for the Royals before free agency. After John Schuerholz, GM of the Royals, was the only person to offer a new contract, $300,000.
What?
Lonnie's performance takes a nosedive.
Well, yeah, wouldn't yours?
Yours would too if you were making less than half of what you were at the same job in a city you hated when you feel the CEO and your manager are robbing you of what you're worth.
Yeah, absolutely.
It only gets worse.
Oh, no.
Bo Jackson shows up in Kansas City.
Okay.
You know Bo. Bo Jackson.
Yeah.
Guess what position the greatest two-sport athlete of all time plays in baseball? Left field.
Oh.
Lonnie is soon replaced, and with 7 innings left in the last game of the year of 1987, Lonnie leaves the ballpark.
Oh, shoot.
Before the game's even over.
With him being replaced, does that mean he just sits in the dugout, or did he get...
He was probably in the dugout for the game, yeah.
So
I don't think he wasn't out on the field.
He didn't get to be in a different position. He just...
No, they just
wasn't
put
in
Bo
the game at all.
in left field.
Oh, no.
He knows the owners are colluding, and he won't get traded or picked up, so he just goes home.
Yeah.
In 1988, Schuerholz is telling anyone who will listen that Lonnie isn't worth his salt, and he can't imagine him playing anywhere in that league that year.
Oh.
Supposedly. Lonnie gets so desperate that he takes over his agent's job of calling teams.
Oh,
He's calling them himself now. He's been virtually blackballed. Nobody wants him. He thinks his career is over. Lonnie relapses.
Oh, no. Lonnie.
With marijuana, not cocaine.
Yeah.
But he had to get something.
Lonnie, no.
And now he has a plan.
Uh-oh.
In Spartansburg, South Carolina, Lonnie Smith went to a pawn shop. He purchases a Taurus 9mm handgun with the intent of killing Royals GM John Schuerholz.
Oh my God, what?
His plan? Wait for Schuerholz in the parking lot of the stadium and shoot him. Quote, if I couldn't get back to baseball, end quote, Smith says, quote, I was going to take him with me. I was going to fly out there, wait for him in the parking lot of the stadium, and pop him. If I got caught, I got caught. If not, I'd come on back home, end quote.
Oh my... What? Okay, Lonnie.
Quote,
not the best decision, my dude.
If I did, the thing, at least I took somebody out who was at blame, he said. Quote, I figured if I got close enough to him, it didn't matter. I didn't think I really wanted to do it, but at the same time, I really did.
That's the best statement. It's like, I don't really want to do it, but I definitely want to do it.
To have something that you love and have somebody take it from you, it will drive you to do anything, end quote.
I mean, yeah. Okay.
The night of the purchase...
Uh-oh.
Lonnie goes into his backyard and fires a test shot into the ground. Lonnie Smith, the all-star baseball player from Compton, California, has never held a gun in his life. He holds it wrong. His hand's too high, and upon firing, the hammer slices his hand open.
Oh my God, Lonnie.
He did have that reputation for being clumsy.
Oh, that's a really good callback. Oh.
A week later, Bobby Cox, GM of the Atlanta Braves, calls 32-year-old Lonnie Smith. They offer him a position in the minors to make his way back to the MLB. Lonnie forgets his plan.
Oh.
In 1989, Lonnie Smith is once again in the MLB. Liddy, let's talk about the stat known as WAR.
Okay.
Like the word war.
Okay.
It stands for wins above replacement.
Okay.
And is a complex formula that basically boils down to how many wins your team is having. Sorry, let me restart. This is very complex. It is a complex formula that basically boils down to how many wins your team has having you on the roster as opposed to a random other player.
Okay.
It's a really complex set of numbers. It puts everything together. But basically, this is how well you do compared against people at your position.
So this is your worth on your team?
Basically, yes.
Okay. So it's a percentage number of, like, you could see it in black and white on paper. This is your worth.
Yeah, it's listed as like how many wins above replacement you have. So the higher the number, the better. For example, Lonnie's best WAR in the last 5 years was a 1.6. Anything above 2 is a starter quality. Anything above 5 is all-star quality.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Jose Canseco's best season ever was a 7.2.
Wow.
Dale Murphy, the guy who beat out Lonnie for All-Star in the National League that year, 7.7.
Wow.
In 1989, Lonnie's WAR was an 8.8.
Lonnie!
In 134 games. The regular MLB season is 162. Joe DiMaggio's best full season was a 9.
Wow.
If Lonnie had kept up his pace, he would have had a 10.5, I think, if he played all 162 games.
Now he had something to prove, too. Like, now, like...
He was playing the best baseball of his life.
Yeah, and he had something to prove at this point.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, well, I'm good at this, and I'm going to show you.
Yeah. It's 1991 now, and the Braves are in the World Series. Lonnie has a chance to win a World Series for a 4th team.
Oh, my gosh.
Lonnie hits homers in games 3, 4, and 5. Home runs in 3 of the games, back to back to back.
How many games? Sorry.
7 in the World Series, yes.
Okay.
He was only the second player in history to hit 3 homers in 3 consecutive World Series games. Reggie Jackson was the other. He only hit 7 in the entire season.
Oh, my God.
And hit
three
three
of
in the
them
World Series.
Consecutively. Wow.
Yeah. He was on his game. Now, unfortunately, we get to the part most people know Lonnie for.
Uh-oh.
It's 0-0 in Game 7, the deciding game of the World Series.
Oh, no, Lonnie. Oh,
Lonnie
no.
gets on first. His teammate hits a deep ball into left field.
Who's on second?
Lonnie runs to second. Lonnie rounds second and just stops. Lonnie lost the ball. He doesn't know where the ball is.
Oh, no.
He doesn't know if he can run home, and he just hesitates.
Oh, no.
He's being screamed at to go, but doesn't. When he finally does, it's too late, and he only makes it to third. But it's fine. No outs. He's on third. His guy's on second. Mm-hmm. The next guy strikes out.
Oh, no.
The next guy is intentionally walked. So base is loaded. The guy after him dribbles out, double play. The inning's over.
Oh,
all
no.
the players left on base left stranded.
If he had come back around.
If he had come to home when the ball was hit deep.
They would have won.
They would be up 1-0.
Oh, they'd be up 1. Okay.
When he finally... The Twins, the Braves' opponent, close out the inning scoreless. The Twins win the game in the championship 1-0 in the 10th inning.
1-0.
So it goes to extras because it's 0-0. So which theoretically...
baseball overtime?
Yes.
Essentially? Okay.
In baseball, you just play another inning until somebody wins.
So you just keep going?
You could go to like the 25th inning
until someone wins.
It needed, yeah.
Wow.
So theoretically, although it's hard to say, if he had come home, they might have won the game 1-0 because the other team didn't score.
Right. It's a what if kind of...
And that, unfortunately, is what most people know Lonnie Smith for.
Not for breaking the legs of the Philly Fanatic.
Not for the coke abuse, not for the murder plot, not for any of that.
Of all the crazy things that happened in this man's life, like the one thing he's remembered for, not the 3 that he won.
Yeah.
But the 1 that he lost.
Yeah.
Huh. How sad is that?
It is very sad.
Yeah.
Before we go.
Yeah.
Let's talk about something that happened before that, though.
Okay.
After Bobby Cox, the guy who gave Lonnie his job, moved back onto the field to coach that team that would go to the World Series, the Braves needed a new GM. So after Lonnie is already a Brave, guess who gets hired?
Oh, no.
John Sherholtz.
Oh, no.
Lonnie says it was extremely awkward.
I'm sure.
It's like having a coworker that you secretly wanted to kill, but nobody knows.
Yeah.
I mean, it is that.
It is.
It's not like
literally
that. It is that.
Yeah.
He said he would walk the other way down hallways and all this sort of stuff.
Do you think he was guilty that he had those thoughts of killing him?
I'm sure,
Or do you think he was still angry?
Probably both.
Yeah, probably a little bit. A little A, B.
When the Braves won the National League before losing to the Twins, they celebrated in the locker room. The teams, execs, everything. This was the first real unavoidable meeting of the two.
Uh-oh.
Lonnie Smith, the man who charged the Fanatic, the man who planned to kill his former boss, the man who thought his new boss was responsible for the loss of his old job, acted. He later called it he later said about the situation, something had to be done.
Oh.
And so he did it. Lonnie Smith approaches John Sherholtz and with one swing of the arm, gave him a hug.
I was going to say shook his hand, but yeah.
And that's it.
Oh, wow.
That is the story of Lonnie Smith.
Wow. And it's so sad that the thing that he's known for, all of these fantastic, ridiculous things that happened in his life, and the one thing that he's most known for is that he froze.
Not rounding second.
Yeah.
Or not going to third.
That he froze.
Or going home.
When he could have gone.
Yeah.
Not his, 8.8.
Right.
Not any of that. Wow. That's really interesting.
I love that story. It's so cool.
I don't know anything about baseball, obviously. So, like, that in and of itself is really interesting. And then, like, a murder plot and, like, bodily, physical harm and everything like that. So
when I was watching The Pretty Good, this was, like, weeks ago when I watched it. And I was like, I don't want to steal this, but it's such this podcast. Like, that is the kind of stuff I want this podcast to be about.
Yeah.
Or at least on my end, like, of just, like, people's stories. That's so cool to me. So, like, it was too good not to do.
Yeah, that is wild.
Everyone go out, watch the episode of Pretty Good by John Boys. You'll see the stuff I took. You'll see the stuff I didn't, but there is, like, the pacing is pretty similar. But, yeah, it's fantastic.
That was really smart. I like that a lot.
Thanks.
You taught me baseball in a way that I was, like, interested in it and wanted to, no offense to people who like baseball, but it's never been my thing. Like, we're in Kentucky, basketball's always been my go-to, but like it's never been something that I've been like, oh, I'm gonna sit down with a bowl of popcorn and watch some baseball, you know. So like that,
it's a long game too. It takes a while to play.
See, I can't get into that, or football, sorry about it. But
football's the greatest sport, but okay.
But that was really interesting. Plus, I learned a lot of stuff about baseball that I wouldn't have known otherwise. So that was really smart.
But shout out to Lonnie Smith.
Yeah. Oh, is he still alive?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, Lonnie Smith. Is he? He's not in any like halls or like got any accolades.
No, he's not a Hall of Famer.
No, he don't get no recognition.
It's actually sad because when you look up Lonnie Smith, the jazz guy comes up first.
Oh,
you have to put in Lonnie Smith baseball.
So he's not even got good SEO.
He's not even. Yeah, right. He's not even the best Lonnie Smith.
He's not even the best man he could be. He's not even the best man with the name.
Yeah, he's still alive. He's 63.
63. Oh, poor dude. Well, that man went through a lot. Good Lord. That was really interesting, Dorm. I like that episode a lot.
Thanks.
That was a really good episode. You set it up perfectly because you're like, this is going to be my best episode.
That's one of the. I think I've written the most and pulled the most sources on that episode of anything.
Yeah.
Like just like actually not pulling a lot of quotes or scientific stuff, just like writing it, and that was really fun for me.
Well, it probably helped, right? Because you had seen some of the information already, so you're like, I want to know more about this thing that I have a little bit of this little bit of information. I want to know more about that.
Yeah.
Those are always my favorite episodes, where there's ones that are like, you might know this tiny little nugget of information, but we're gonna go like the other side of the iceberg and teach you even more of it. So that's really cool. I like that a lot.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
Liddy, where can people find you?
Twitch.tv/Team Liddy. Where can people find you?
Twitch.tv/Stormstreams.
And we have... you do this... it's been a while. It's been a while. It
has been a while.
Twitter.
Instagram.
Patreon.
Merch.
Brand new merch site.
Dormstreams.co/merch.
Or
no, dormstreams.co/store. I messed up my own link.
Store.
I can make merch a link.
I was going to say, now you're going to need a merch link.
Yeah.
I always forget the last...
YouTube?
Well, yeah. YouTube. Spotify.
Well, yeah, we're just listing the services we're on now. iTunes, Google Play.
I always forget.
Podbean.
I always forget. Yeah, Dorm takes care of all of that junk. So drop Dorm a thank you if you were listening to this anywhere.
It's like an anvil. It just drops on my head.
Just drop it right on him. Yeah, because I show up, occasionally bring food and go, tell me a thing. And then you tell
that voice, I've never heard that.
Tell me a thing.
I'm sorry, yes and. Yeah, she does it all the time.
Yes and I bring my smoking jacket and my bubble pipe and I sit here and go, quiet. Not that kind. Then I just go, quiet, indubitably.
Wait, not that kind. I was trying to make a bubble noise.
I know, it just sounded like it was like a bong.
Oh. I mean, bubble pipes do kind of sound like bongs, right?
Do they? I don't know. I'm thinking of like the little bubble pipes that are like what looks like a Sherlock Holmes pipe.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Oh, do they make bubble noises?
Well,
is that a thing?
In cartoons, they do.
Oh, I don't know. It's been a long time.
I don't know if I've actually ever seen a bubble pipe in the wild.
Oh, you know what? They have them on Amazon. I almost bought them.
Why?
Them. I don't know why I said them as if there were multiples. Because I wanted to be Sherlock. For Halloween.
I have a real pipe. I've never smoked it.
Weird flex, but okay. Like, yeah, you wanted a fake plastic pipe. Guess what?
Like my great grandpa's or something.
I got a real one.
I used it for my Popeye costume, which is what I was gonna say.
Doesn't he have a little thing he does? It's like I wanted to say like yuck, but that's not his.
That's Three Stooges.
What's his thing?
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. Thank you. I don't know how to do it.
It's pretty close,
and I'm not gonna try. Yeah, it's kind of like it's in the same cadence, I think, or the same like tone, a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we
always go off the rails right at the end. Sometimes in the middle, but right at the end, we always go off the rails.
Lydia, until next time.
Be careful where you click.